Greetings, Toffies. Welcome back to the Blue Frontier. James here. Just a quick preamble before we get into the episode. We did something a little bit different this time. There's going to be a lot of different segments because Everton are now stateside at time of recording this. And so with all the matches being played over the next week, I took the opportunity to speak with representatives from the supporters groups of the cities Everton will be visiting. So I first spoke with James Rogers from the New York Evertonians, then Henry Ortiz from New Jersey, Tony Sampson from Chicago, and then Bridget Bryson from Atlanta to give us a little bit of a rundown on their respective supporters groups as well as the events and itineraries they have been working hard for months to plan. So we hope that you'll enjoy that, find it informative. We will also put all of the links to the materials and itineraries and whatnot in the description of the episode. So after those segments, Shan and I took the time also to record a quick little recap of Everton's preseason up to now. We talked about the away kit release a little bit, got into the Mark Travers signing, and then also talked about a couple of rumors that are lingering and maybe picking up a little bit of steam. So hope you'll enjoy the episode. I'll try to put the timestamps in the description. I'll also just note that the segments with the guests were not recorded in chronological order, so forgive any continuity errors. But with that, let's just get right into it. Thanks very much. Follow us on socials, leave us a rating and review, join our Discord, and intro.
From the USA to Merseyside and beyond, welcome to the Blue Frontier. Insightful Everton analysis for every blue with James Boyman, Ryan Williams, and Sean Kahn.
All right, we are now very pleased to be joined by none other than James Rogers of the New York Evertonians. James, thank you for joining the show.
Thank you, James. It's a pleasure.
Just James, back and forth.
I know, yeah. It's a popular name.
Yeah, it's a great name. Would you mind just giving us a little bit of an intro on yourself and the New York Evertonians as a whole?
Yeah. So I am, as you can probably tell from my accent, I'm from Liverpool. I'm from Huyton originally. Moved over here in 2004, which was the same year, funnily enough, that the New York Evertonians was founded. Wasn't involved in it in its early years. It was founded by a group of expats and a larger-than-life Irishman who were the early figures in that. Recent years, it's been run by my good friend Michael Setterberg, who does a great job pulling everything together. Yeah, and we've got about 200 members now. So it's large. It's a going concern. We meet at Turnmill in New York City. Get a decent turnout there. Particularly for the big games, for the derby. And yeah, we've got an absolutely cracking little community going on there. We can't wait to welcome everyone to our wonderful city this week.
Yeah, very exciting for I'm sure a lot of folks making their trips over and maybe visiting New York for the first time, the Big Apple. Could you walk us through what events you guys have planned for those visiting and those who are part of the group?
Yeah, so our big one is our big welcome event on Thursday evening. We're going to have representatives from the club there. We're going to have Graham Stewart, Dan Mice, the designer of our, the builder of our new stadium is going to be there. This is someone who, we've been trying to get to Turnmill for forever, and finally he's going to be there. So we all can't wait to meet him and see everyone who's coming over. Christopher Ward, the club sponsor, are going to be over. They've been over with us before. They've been in Turnmill. We know them. I think we've got a good relationship with those guys. So yeah, it's going to be an absolutely great night. I mean, I think I read somewhere it's like 1961 the last time that Everton played in New York City or the New York City area. So it's been a while. And they've played a lot in the US over the years. I've seen them myself in Salt Lake City and Washington DC. But for us to have them actually here this week is going to be amazing. And there's going to be other events as well. I know that the club are hosting a coaching school with Leon Osman at Long Island University, which is actually quite close to where I live. And then there's going to be the Men in Blazers event on the Friday night, where David Moyes is going to be the guest. So we're really looking forward to that. And also, I have to say, later on Friday, there's going to be a couple of the New York Evertonians. Sean Gallagher and Austin are going to be they're in a band called the Black Jackals, who come on stage to the sounds of Z Cars. They're a really great band, and they're going to be playing a gig while everyone's in town at a pub called Connolly's late on the Friday. So a big group of us are going to be heading over for there. That will be, very much an Everton event. The worlds of music and football and generally all hanging out collide that night at Connolly's. So so there's a lot of stuff going on. We really can't wait to get everyone there. It's, I just think being an Evertonian, big part of it is the community that we've built. And, there's people that, going to get, hopefully I'll catch up with you. Are you going to be in town? Are you going to be in New York as well?
Unfortunately, no. We're going to be headed to Atlanta. It's the closest one for us. Or for me at least, it would have made the most sense. But we wanted to get together all together, the three of us, the hosts. At one, and Atlanta was the one that seemed to work out. So
no, but it's going to be good. And I know that the previous times we've all been together. You meet people from all over the country that maybe I only know off social media or whatever. And get to hang out, maybe have a pint, catch up, and generally do what Evertonians do. Maybe we'll be celebrating the win. Who knows? But let's not get carried away.
Yeah.
So it's going to be great. I can't wait for it. It feels like we've been waiting a long time for this moment. I've lived here 21 years, and finally Everton are coming to where I live. So that's kind of amazing. So it's going to be brilliant. I'm really looking forward to it.
It sounds like a fantastic series of events you guys have planned out, and you're the third person I've talked to now. A lot of great events. I know a lot of work has gone into setting this up, and I will say, having been to a number of Everton events, you never regret going. Even if the team are terrible, you meet some of the best people you could ever meet in the world, and you share a love of the same club.
Yeah, no, completely. I mean, it's it's pre-season, isn't it? So like the club is still, the football side of things, it's still, I think we've seen from the early pre-season games, like the work and the kinks out, and that's how it is. But just for us all to be together, and people are going to come from all over, all over the US, going to be people from Merseyside, and it's great, to bring everyone together, because I think everyone's experience of Everton is different when you live in the US. People come to it in different ways, and but we're all Evertonians, and that's what makes it really special. Maybe there are people that didn't necessarily grow up with it, but they've kind of come to the club, and they've really bought into everything that Everton and the community that surrounds it represents. I just think it's amazing. It's a really it's a really really special thing, and I hope I'm sure it will be a really memorable and meaningful few days for everyone while Everton are over here. It's going to be great. It will be boss, to use a Liverpool expression.
Exactly. Yeah, you technically go for the match, but really you go for all the stuff surrounding the match and just to see Everton live. I mean, the game in Baltimore against Arsenal, we lost. The Florida Cup was its own thing during COVID. That was crazy. And I had a blast at both of them, because the people you meet and the talks that you have with people from all over are just unbelievable. And I mean, even if you're coming to just be in New York and New Jersey, I mean, it's a great area. There's so much going on, and you'll meet some wonderful people. And James, credit to you and the New York Evertonians for putting together a fantastic slate of events. Wish that I could be there, but I'm sure you guys will have an absolute blast.
Thank you very much. You'll be there in spirit. I forgot all about Baltimore. It was such a the football wasn't great, but it was an epic weekend. Absolutely brilliant. So it's honestly, it'll be good wherever Evertonians are. Like when we're all together, it's always a good time. So
100%. Yeah, great, James. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. Appreciate it. Enjoy the event, and hope to see a lot of photos and videos from it, everything going on, and a bunch of happy Toffees, hopefully.
Definitely. You too, mate. Thanks for having me on. Up the Toffees.
Up the Toffees, James. Cheers. I am joined by Henry Ortiz from the New Jersey Toffees. Henry, thanks for taking the time to join the Blue Frontier.
Hey, James. How are you? Henry here. No, thank you for inviting me. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, really excited to talk about the summer series and all the work that's been going on and the events that you guys have planned. I'm sure this has been months in the making. Before we get into that, do you mind just giving me a little bit of background on the New Jersey Toffees, where you guys meet, how many people are in the group, and how long have you guys been getting together?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. We're also very, very excited about the summer series in general. We got started back in 2022, where I actually saw you guys for the first time. It was at the Baltimore game versus Arsenal. We got started after I went around the bar just kind of asking people like where they were from, and figured there were a handful of people from New Jersey. So I was like, oh, where's our group? There was no group at the time, so I figured I'll get something started. Got a few people's emails, phone numbers, and so. One thing led to another, and then for the start of that season, we had our best attendance watch party, what you would call it, with around 50 people attending our first meeting to watch our season opener back in 2022. So it's been upwards from then. Some games we get less attendance, some games we get more. We meet at the Horseshoe Tavern in Morristown, New Jersey. We figured it was kind of midway for everybody based on their locations and stuff. For me, it's about half an hour, but I don't mind. I mean, I love the club. I love the supporters club in general. So it's been a ride so far, but again, great to watch and to meet with a lot of Evertonians, and being able to host this summer series is exciting. So we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, very cool. Sounds like so more recent group, but glad you guys have come together quickly and developed a good kind of rotating cast of people. Obviously, with the game times being all over the place, it's probably hard to get the same group together consistently. But it's awesome that you guys have started that and hopefully just building year over year.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, definitely easier than being on the other side of the country, I'll tell you that. But
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. The West Coast Warriors. So, Henry, why don't you just take some time, walk us through the events you guys have planned? Obviously, things kick off this weekend. We're recording this on a Monday, but as of Thursday, I think your guys' itinerary kicks off, and it seems like you guys have a really good slate of events planned. So, walk people through what's going to be going on.
yeah, absolutely. My pleasure to let everybody know of our plans, as we're trying to spread the word as much as possible. Yeah, so it starts on Thursday, the 22nd at American Dream Mall. It's going to be from around 2 to 8 p.m. is what we've heard, based on this is going to be mainly the club organizing this. What they will call it is the Goodison Experience at American Dream Mall. Basically, they're going to have a full day of activities at the biggest mall that we have here in Jersey. Um, they're gonna have some football cages, skills test, opportunities to take photos, among etc. things that they'll be doing. And then around the afternoon is what I've heard. So if people are listening here, they will know around afternoon, three senior men's team players will appear at the mall. There'll be an opportunity for Q&A and meet and greet as well. We don't know details as to who's coming, who are the three selected, but I'm sure whoever it is it will be a great time. So that's on Thursday. And then Friday, it will be a continuation of the same thing, basically. I mean, the mall is huge, so the reason I'm assuming why they're doing 2 days is because there's plenty of things to do, plenty of places to go. And American Dream is a very recent mall, so it's a lot of exciting things to do around as well. So Friday will be, like I said, more of the same thing, except we'll get a what's it called, Premier League club ambassador for our club and for the other clubs as well. So it won't just be just Everton. Everton. It will be also Bournemouth, Man United, and West Ham. Sorry. So it will be. I'm sure it will be full of activities from their clubs as well as Premier League. Since they're also organizing this event, not just the clubs alone. So, yeah, Thursday and Friday will be a lot of American Dream mall related activities, and then moving on to the game day. So Saturday, we have, as a supporters club, we have organized a couple of activities, starting with five-a-side footy, which will be just kind of an opportunity for everybody who's traveling, local or whoever, to come join all you blue fellows here at So5 is what it's called. It's one of the biggest sports complexes, mainly focused in soccer here in New Jersey. So it will be a great opportunity. I spoke to the owner, very nice people. They were able to give us a couple of fields for people to come just have fun, nothing too crazy, nothing serious, just show up, have fun. It's free. The main thing, I mean, the only thing I would say is just we'll be collecting donations. It's not required. You don't need to make a donation to be able to play or join us. We're just trying to help a good cause, for the National MS Society, multiple sclerosis, to help find a cure and patients and stuff like that. So that's what the goal of our fundraising is. And then immediately after that, so that starts at 9 o'clock. It's a little bit of an early morning session, and then ends at 10:30. They have showers, lockers, and stuff like that, so people can quickly shower, get stuff together, put on their other jersey back on, ready for the tailgate, which is what follows right after at 11 a.m. Which is Blues take over Reds. Unfortunately, we the bar that we got, the name of course had to be Reds. It's not associated to the to Liverpool or anything red in general. It's just the last name of the previous owner who passed away. But yeah, things that we're gonna have there, activities are gonna be. This is gonna be hosted by us, the NJ Toffees, as well as Everton Football Club. So we'll have a club ambassador there. They'll do some giveaways. There'll be food and drinks to purchase. So it'll be a great time. Also, I know that Toffee TV is coming as well. So those who also watch them, will have an opportunity to meet them and do anything that they have planned as well. And yeah, there will be shuttles there, parking and shuttles. I highly encourage people to purchase the parking ahead of time. We have a code for all the Everton supporters. Code is Toffees. If you use that code, you get $10 off. You get your parking, and then you also get to ride on the shuttle that will take us to MetLife and back to the sports bar after for free. So if, let's say, James, if you were to park there, right, anybody who you bring in your car gets automatically a ticket to ride on the shuttle. Otherwise, if you're not parking there, you'll just have to purchase a shuttle separately. But it should be a good time, all Evertonians together. I mean, I remember, I think you've been to the previous ones in other states, so it's an amazing time to just be all together ahead of the game, and hopefully everybody can make it.
Yeah, highly recommend both the five-a-side footy. When you threw in that there's showers, I'm like, that's a really important detail, because
Absolutely.
you don't want to get sweaty right before you head to the tailgate. It's probably going to be pretty hot, so you can get nice and ready to go enjoy a few adult beverages or sodas or whatever you partake in. Henry, sounds like you guys have an awesome series of events planned. The five-a-side games are always fun. We've had them at a few other previous events. They are a great time. People don't take it too seriously. Most people don't take it too seriously. And then the game's going to be awesome. And the shuttle's huge, I think, because I've never been to MetLife, but from what I've heard, the biggest challenge is getting in and out of there. So I think that'll be a pretty easy way to manage that transport.
Yeah, unfortunately, it won't be as other games where you could just kind of walk your way to the stadium. The way that MetLife is set up, as you said, made it a little complicated for anybody to do that. But a way to get everybody together, jump on it, and show up all kind of at the same time. There's going to be plenty of them available at Red, so it should be a great time to all show up as a big crowd, scare away the Bournemouth fans. That should be a good presence.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you, Henry. I really appreciate you taking the time to join and promote the event. We'll include all the details in the description of the episode, so linking to the event, the itinerary, all that stuff. But hope everything goes really smoothly. Hope you guys have a great turnout. It should be always a fun time when you get together with fellow Toffees. So thanks, Henry. Enjoy the event, and hopefully not too much stress on your end with all the pieces kind of in place now.
Definitely. Looking forward to it. Again, thank you for having me. Up the Toffees.
All right, and we are now joined by none other than friend of the show, Tony Sampson of the Chicago Evertonians. Tony, thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
Nice to be here. Thanks for asking me along, James, and nice to talk to you again. I think the last time we saw each other was in a boozy San Diego, wasn't it, in April? So I hope you've recovered and good to connect again.
Fueled back up and ready to go again in Atlanta. But of course, Tony, you are going to be doing the whole tour. You're going to be at every single Summer Series event, and I'm sure you'll see a lot of folks along the way. But your home is in Chicago, and you are a key figure in the Chicago Evertonians group. So before we get into the events for the Summer Series, for those who don't already know, just give us a little bit of a rundown on the Chicago Evertonians, where you guys meet, how many members you have, the good stuff.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. Yeah, as you say, Chicago's been my home for nearly 7 years now. So that's been my go-to place, and I'll talk about our bar in a minute. But that's where I've been keeping my Everton fix alive over the last number of years. So yeah, the Chicago Evertonians were formed. They've been going actually since 2001. So a group of Blues, former expats and US folk who got a love for the club, got that going, along with a couple of other North American groups as well. It was kind of almost the birth of some of that across the continent. So yeah, we've been going for quite a while. We meet. Our match day meetups are in the famous AJ Hudson's on North Ashland Avenue, 3801 North Ashland, and that'll be the focus and the centre point for some of the activities and events next week. Quite a sizable group. I think we've got over 800 members certainly on our Facebook, and close to that number as well on our official list. Peaks and troughs. We have a core that meets every week in the pub, whatever time of day it is, even for the 6 a.m. kickoffs, like many of the other supporter groups. But yeah, we I don't know, maybe we get maybe a steady core of 20, and that can go up to as high as 50 depending on the game and who we're playing. Obviously we were dead lucky to host the first Toffee Fest event in Chicago last year, which was well attended and had Everton giant Adrian Heath along as well, and we had many more there. I think we had over over 150 attend for that. So yeah, that's our home. That's where we go. Mixture of kind of expat scousers like me that come along. Obviously, people from across the UK. We get quite a lot of people visiting, passing through into Chicago as well, given its location, and they come along. We get loads of messages every week, saying where can we meet up and will you be there. So that's great because we get to meet up with people again from back home in Liverpool, but also across the US and the globe, to be honest. And then obviously there's US citizens that have fallen in with the club along the way for various reasons, and they form part of it. But yeah, really great group, really great community. The pub is run by a Brit and a Blue, Jamie Hale. So he and his staff make us extremely welcome, whatever time of day it is, and we love it there and feel really at home.
Fantastic. Yeah, and I have not had the pleasure of going to AJ Hudson's and making it out to Chicago for a match yet, but I know Shan was at Toffee Fest last year, and that was, by all accounts, a fantastic event. And Tony, I know, just associating you with the Chicago Evertonians is one thing, but don't want to downplay your crucial involvement in all things North American Toffees over the last few years. You have been just an instrumental figure in organizing so many events, and can't thank you enough for the countless hours that you've put in years past, and I'm sure the number of hours that you've put in to planning the events for the summer series. And I'll use that to segue into, if you could just give us a quick rundown of all the things you have planned in Chicago in the coming week.
Absolutely. Well, look, just first, thank you for that, and first, just say it really is a team effort. As we've worked hard along with you guys as well to kind of build out the community and build on what already existed. And I think we've got 43 supporter groups now that meet regularly and connect well and share ideas and initiatives. So it really is a team effort, and there's a number of people that are all part of that and making it happen. And let's hope that with the vision our new ownership can bring and the stability that the club's bring, and that we've got an opportunity to strengthen that, because we've all been talking about it for a long time, haven't we? So let's hope that the conditions are right now to seize that, not forgetting kind of our roots and heritage back home in Liverpool, but let's do that in a thoughtful way and keep expanding. So yeah, looking forward to it. As for Chicago, really excited. So we're going to be kicking off with a welcome event, our supporter club welcome event. That's obviously going to be hosted at AJ Hudson's, which is our home bar that we've just been talking about. And really pleased, we're going to be joined by two of the Everton ambassadors, Leon Osman and Graham Stewart. And Adrian Heath is going to be coming back as well. So again, that's great news that we've got an Everton giant in there. He's a massive Cubs fan as well, isn't he, as well? So I think he's glad to be back in the city. I'm not sure if he's going to be taking in a Cubs game as well. But yeah, that'll be good. Monday night from 6:30 at AJ Hudson's. Usual affair. I'm sure there'll be a Q&A. We're going to be raffling off a few goodies as well, signed shirts and other things. There's going to be some kind of unique match day experiences as well that the club has partnered with us on that we'll be raffling off. And we've got a chosen charity that we support, which is the Chicago Food Depository. We've supported them for Toffee Fest and have continued to, and that'll be a theme that we're going to actually look to explore, not just in Chicago but in other cities as well. But that'll be the kick-off. Hopefully that'll get us off to a good start and people have recovered well, having travelled from New York. And then That takes us on into Tuesday. On the Tuesday, I know that the club has organised a soccer school, which I think is now sold out, and I think that's going to be in a really great location. There's a place called Skyline Chicago, so the kids that are going to take advantage of that are going to be doing that against the backdrop of the Chicago skyline. I know some of the supporter group members are going to be going along to that to offer their support, and hopefully we can nurture the future Evertonians and get them hooked into the club. And then the showpiece for Tuesday is the club organised Lake Michigan cruise. Or Michigan, sorry. Michigan was very a British pronunciation there, wasn't it? So yeah, that's going to be a 2-hour effort, which will include kind of, drinking and music and food and lots of giveaways. But the cast of guests for that is absolutely superb. So club captain Seamus Coleman's going to be joining us for that. Leighton Baines is going to be reunited with his other fullback, Alan Irvine, who's obviously, I think assistant manager is his official title now. Graham Stewart will be at that again, so he's obviously going to be busy. Inchie will be there as well, Adrian Heath, and then the other great guest that we've got is Dan Mice is going to be joining us on that as well. So a real kind of star-studded guest. So I think there's some nervousness about kind of 500 Evertonians on a boat all drinking for a couple of hours, but that should be a great night. And then I think that's due to finish I think around 9 o'clock, and then I'm sure that there'll be a load of activities, people spilling into Chicago to carry on and keep flying the flag. So that's good. And then obviously we're into match day on the Wednesday. So an early start. Again, we're going to be based at AJ Hudson's from 10 a.m. So we want to get going and start warming up as early as we can. And again, I know Evertonians won't let anybody down on that front. Graham Stewart's going to be joining us pre-match, which is really cool. We're also going to be hosting Paddy Boyland and Matt Jones from the Everton byline. They're going to do a pod there as well, so that'll be great to have them on board. And then we are putting on some transport for a very limited cost. There's going to be a bus, potentially 2, to take people to Soldier Field from about, I think, 3:15, 3:30. Very minor cost of around $10, but that will be for both ways. So yeah, really excited. Lots of fun stuff to do. It's going to be great to have, obviously not just Americans from Evertonians from America, but actually it's going to be great to have all the Blues that are travelling from Liverpool as well. I know there's some I know and there'll be some that I don't know. So yeah, really looking forward to it. Should be great, and I hope that Evertonians take over Chicago.
Here's hoping. We got to drown out the other fan bases that might be making their way there as well. So I know that the Evertonians will always show out, and that is a very impressive itinerary you've put together there alongside the rest of the group that's been working on it. So hats off. I'm sure that will be quite the cruise. Hopefully, Seamus and Leighton Baines aren't too put off by being accosted by 3 or 4 beer deep Evertonians all night, but I'm sure it will be. That's true. They're definitely used to it. Well, Tony, that sounds fantastic. I am very sad, as I am with the cities besides Atlanta, that I won't be able to attend those, but I know that those who do will have a fantastic time. Any other details to share before we let you go?
No, let me first of all make one shout out for the rest of the organising group in Chicago. So Lo, who's chair of the Chicago Evertonians, Dave, Liz, Jamie, the bar owner, Nick Jones. They've been absolutely fabulous in trying to put all this on and working with the club as well. So massive shout out to them, and also like those that have been leading it from the other groups as well, in New York, New Jersey, and Atlanta. So I know a load of work goes into this, and they take it seriously, take on a lot of responsibility. So massive kudos to them for all the work they've done. I guess one thing just to flag is that I think, as lots of the individual supporter clubs try and do a lot to give back to local communities. They've supported a load of charitable efforts over the years and down the years. Last year, or last couple of years with Toffee Fest, we've focused in as a national supporter network on supporting food poverty and hunger. So a lot of our events have raised money to support that. I think the last Toffee Fest one raised nearly $9,000 in to tackle food poverty. We're going to continue that theme, and what's been amazing is that we've now joined forces with the supporter groups of the other clubs that are taking part in the summer series in each of the different locations. So, the US Bournemouth group and New York Man United group and Chicago group and Atlanta group, we've all joined forces at each of the clubs, and what we're going to do is we're going to be doing a joint virtual food drive in each of the cities. Across there, we'll be promoting that across the event, obviously with the aim of raising as much money as we can. We know times are tough for people and it isn't always easy to give, but we hope that this is an opportunity for us to come together as a broader football community and give something back and show that kind of, how the power of football can have an impact beyond just kind of what happens on the pitch, but, within communities as well. So I'm excited about that, and, there'll be QR codes and stuff on our socials, advertising how you can get involved in that. So if anybody is able to contribute, we'd really appreciate that, and please feel free to share it as far and wide as possible, and let's show how much of an impact we can make.
Absolutely. And we'll follow our socials, follow the socials of all the groups. We'll be promoting it as well, making sure that we can get the word out. And even if you're not able to make the trip to one of the cities, good opportunity to donate, as Tony said, if you can. Well, Tony, thank you so much for giving us the rundown. We will see you in Atlanta. I'm sure you will be hopefully still going strong by then, but it's going to be a busy week for you, I'm sure, but a very fun one, and really looking forward to it.
I can't wait. Thank you. And again, thanks to you guys as well for everything you're doing and building out the community and connecting it as well as you do. So it's going to be great, and I can't wait to see you both in Atlanta.
All right, and last but not least, we have none other than Bridget Bryson from the Atlanta Evertonians. Bridget, thanks so much for taking the time to join us. Very excited for the Atlanta event.
Yeah, me too. We can't wait. It's like the countdown is definitely on now.
Fantastic. Well, could you start by just giving us a little bit of background on yourself and the Atlanta Evertonians? Let us know where your group meets, how many members you currently have approximately, and just a little bit about yourself and the group.
Sure. So Bridget Bryson, as you said, originally from the Wirral. I've been living in the Atlanta area for 10 years now. Managed to find the Atlanta Evertonians group and have been kind of a loyal member and trying to do my bit in volunteering and helping to keep things going. I think I have the official title of secretary, if I remember rightly, because we all need a title. And we meet at Limerick Junction Pub, which is in the Virginia Highlands area. It's a great little Irish pub. We've been truly lucky to get our own venue. We used to share a large bar downtown with a few other clubs, one of whom are those who shall not be mentioned. And it got kind of ugly when every week we had to argue with our neighbors. And we got this offer of moving to Limerick Junction, and has become our home. We can't wait to share it with everyone. I'm not sure how many members we have, actually. I want to say it's 50 plus. But obviously I'm a heck of a secretary because I really don't know. But we probably have in our meetups in the pub every week between 20 to 30, 40 people show up every week depending on the time of the game. And we have a good time. We're a real blue family there in Atlanta.
Awesome. Yeah, it seems like I always see the pictures that you guys post on social. It seems like you get pretty consistently good turnout, which is fantastic, and must be very excited to have some people flying in to witness and host a group of fans from outside of Atlanta, outside of Georgia, including none other than the 3 members of the Blue Frontier. We will be there and very excited to be joining you for what looks like a pretty fun slate of events. So, Bridget, if you don't mind, just walking our listeners through what those list of events look like, the times, and where people need to be, and any logistics, mostly just the fun stuff.
Okay, well, and I did sort of pull up a list on my phone because I'm terrified I'm gonna miss something. We're doing kind of a lot of grassroots stuff, which I'm quite excited about. But I'm going to give you sort of the unofficial and the official events in order. First of all, and I think they're doing this in every city. Everton's having a little soccer school event, and we're encouraging people to go watch that. So that's one of those things that people can certainly reach out to us about. But to go and show our support for these kids, I believe Leon Osman is going to be there, and they're going to have some Everton coaches, just a couple of hours on the Friday afternoon in Atlanta heat. It'll be fantastic. That evening, I've got a couple of different things. One that I'm just mentioning because I think it's a bit cool. It's actually a Man United event, but they're dunking Liverpool fans in a dunk tank for charity. So I figure that that's worth mentioning at the Brewhouse pub. And that's going to be hours before our event. So that would be a really fun one to go to. But then we're having an unofficial pub takeover at 9 p.m. Why so late? Because a lot of people are coming in town late and it's hot in Atlanta. So we decided to have a late night meet and greet at Meehan's pub downtown. Unofficial, but I'm working on maybe having a surprise guest or two. So watch this space for more information on that. And then things get really out of control on Saturday night when we have our official Q&A with Everton, with the ambassadors, and meet and greet at Limerick Junction Pub, which, as I said, is our home in the Virginia Highlands area in Atlanta. And that's going to be a lot of fun. It's quite a small pub, but they have got a sponsor and have paid to have fencing and porta potties outside so we can expand and actually triple the amount of people we can get there. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And you're going to have to recover very, very quickly because Sunday morning, we don't believe in sleep in Atlanta. You're going to get up early, nice and bright and early, and come to the Big Blue event, the big pub quiz, and that's going to be at Hudson Grill. Now, that is actually a ticketed event, so people do need to make sure they get the ticket because there's only 250 seats. But they're going to do a big pub quiz, Q&A, lots of prizes. The ambassadors, of course, will be there. And that's going to be in Hudson Grill, which is a Midtown pub in Atlanta. And that's going to be an amazing event. And we want to make sure you eat lots and drink lots, because right after that, you're going to come to our tailgate. And our tailgate is, and I think I'm right in saying we're the only city that's doing this, a full-on traditional parking lot tailgate at the Home Depot backyard, which is what it's called at Mercedes-Benz, where we will have our cars parked and we will have grills grilling, and your Atlanta Evertonians are busy signing up. Saw some sign-ups coming today to bring hot dogs and hamburgers and macaroni salads and chips and salsa and desserts and all the fun things. And we would like it if some people would BYOB too, because we're doing this ourselves, sort of that last 3 hours before the game. And then if you still have any energy left, there's a football game to go watch.
I feel tired just having you run through that agenda. I know that I'm going to be maybe limping into the Mercedes-Benz Stadium by the time the match rolls around.
It's kind of funny because in some ways we have less official events. And just because that's how it worked out, we don't have the men in blazers, we don't have the boat thing in Chicago, we don't have a mall takeover, but we really wanted to give you the Atlanta experience and make it how we are football fans, because football's huge in Atlanta. Soccer's massive, and to really have, so Meehan's is a soccer bar, Hudson Grill, not so much, but we needed somewhere that would a bigger space. And and I forgot, like, one of the most important things about the pub quiz is the Cooligans will be hosting that. So we'll have the Cooligans on board, so that's going to be funny. And then, of course, the tailgate. You got to tailgate before the final match of the summer series.
I think there's no better way to do an Everton to America visit than an authentic American tailgate. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. It will be hot. Bring your sunscreen and all that stuff. Bring lots of water. Make sure to mix some waters in between your beverages. But I'm looking forward to it. Really impressive slate that you guys have put together. So congrats on that. And we're very much looking forward to attending and meeting anyone else who will be at the Atlanta matches. Bridget, any other details for folks who might be traveling in?
No, I mean, a couple of things. I've had a few people ask me if they can do the pub quiz and the tailgate, to which I respond, well, I am. So if you get to the tailgate early, we won't be there yet. So that's something worth knowing. The other thing is, and I'm sure some of the other groups have mentioned this maybe, but we are all collecting for our local food insecurity. We're all doing one. So ours, of course, is for the Atlanta Community Food Bank. And that idea, I'm not sure who it came from originally, but the wonderful Tony Sampson asked me about it, so I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't Tony. And we've connected with all of our local supporter groups, as in the Man United, the West Ham, and the Bournemouth, only apparently they don't have one here, but whatever, to have their logos on there and encourage their fans to support this too, because it's something. We're not competing, we're all doing this together, one pot of money from the summer series to collect to support food insecurity, avoiding food insecurity in our local areas. So that's something that's near and dear to all of our hearts, and that information will be at each of the events. And the only other thing is, for the summer series, if you do Facebook, please join the North American Toffees event Facebook group, because we're really centralizing all the information there. We probably had 150 new members of the Atlanta Evertonians Facebook group in the last 2 weeks. And unless you're going to bring hot dogs or hamburgers, that's not the group for you to be in. You want to be in the event group so you can actually find out about where to be and how to get there.
Excellent. And we will include the link to that group in the description of the episode so people can easily access it. Well, Bridget, that was a really great overview. Again, I'm beyond excited to make the trip down to see Mercedes-Benz Stadium and to see Everton in the flesh, stateside. It's just been a couple years too long since the last time they were here. So thank you for taking the time, and really looking forward to seeing you in just over a week now.
We are really looking forward to it. And one side note, if you're in the Everton area, in the Mercedes-Benz, they actually managed to find the one blue bar in the entire area is where we are sitting, because it is a very red stadium, but we got the blue bit. So we're excited about that.
Excellent. That's very fitting and perfect. Well, thank you, Bridget. I won't take up any more of your time, but looking forward to it, and well done on all this planning. I know it has been probably a long journey to get to here, but the event is almost here, and hopefully you can relax during it and aren't too stressed out. So thanks for the time, and we'll see you soon.
See you then.
All right, folks, now back to our regularly scheduled programming. I am here now joined by Shan, and we are excited to do a bit of a recap episode. It's been a while since we recorded, put out the last episode of our squad assessment series, and we've got some things that have happened since then. Now, not a lot of things, but there have been some things, and we're going to talk about them. So we're going to start with just a quick overview of preseason thus far. We know, obviously, summer series is on the verge of kicking off, and it will be an eventful week for sure if you listen to the previous segment. But we'll talk about Everton's friendlies so far this preseason. We'll talk about the signing of Mark Travers. We did make some signings, not as many as people would have liked, but Mark Travers has signed on an official deal, so we'll break that down. The away kit was also released, which I think we're both pretty fond of, so we'll talk about that briefly. And then we've got a couple rumors on the back half to close us out. So with that, I'll give it to Shan. Talk us through preseason. I'll be honest, I have been very busy with a new job, so I have not been able to watch as much preseason as I would normally. But things have happened. Everton have got some slightly underwhelming, if not typical, preseason results.
Yeah, I think, of course, new ownership, but consistent preseason for Everton standards, especially in the country. But they started off with a game against Accrington Stanley, 1-1. Of course, we are not going to give you our, tried and true lineups, like analysis of the other team, minute-to-minute analysis, but more than anything, I think give you some common themes or things that we thought of or saw. And so for this game, I think the one thing that kind of, stood out to me is a lot of the kids being in the lineup, whether that be on the bench or on the pitch. Of course, seeing Yusuf Trimidi was exciting to, kind of lead the lines, as well as, of course, Harrison Armstrong, right? As we have talked about and truly feel and believe he has a bright future. Harry Tyrer also got the start in goal. But really, not too much to kind of talk about in terms of the game. Definitely some, creative moments and some good signs. But if I could give you a quick summary of the game, it was essentially Tim Arabunam had some really kind of cool moments. Harrison Armstrong looked like he belonged. It was really good to see some of the kids, Clark, Taman, as well as Isaac Heath, who ended up getting the penalty, which Beto scored. One of the best penalties I've also seen, too, in regards to Beto. So credit to him. Of course, 1-1 draw. And then we had a game against Blackburn that was 1-0. Really not too much to say about this game outside of course, a lot of negativity once again tossed to Nathan Patterson. Mark Travers did get his debut, and we saw a much more kind of Everton lineup. A lot of the starters and guys that we expect to play, especially kind of our first match day. But I think more than anything with preseason is you can't take too much from this, but just guys getting minutes, guys getting back up to speed. It's kind of amazing, James, when you think about how short the preseason is, or really the off season when it comes to football standards. I mean, you look at even the teams that are playing the Club World Cup, just how they really have no time off. So there was also one more game. I think most people found out about it at halftime, playing a closed door friendly against Port Vale. They did win that game 2-1. Goals by Charlie Alcaraz and James Garner free kick. One thing I really wanted to give credit to the club is I think they finally learned how to live stream a game effectively. That was, if you took anything from this preseason, I feel like we are finally run by people that actually know how to run a production, hopefully on the pitch as well as off the pitch. And so that was really encouraging to see. As soon as you got onto the stream, it was crystal clear, no issues whatsoever. And so good on the club for that. And then transitioning, as you mentioned, Everton signed a goalkeeper, Mark Travers. Everton have completed their third signing of the summer windows with Mark Travers joining on a 4-year deal. The 26-year-old goalkeeper joins from Bournemouth from an undisclosed fee. Of course, that fee is reported to be worth $4 million. Mark Travers has made 82 appearances for Bournemouth. So, James, just kind of initial thoughts from your end. What are your thoughts?
Face value, I think it's great. We had such a lengthy discussion on goalkeepers as part of the team assessment series and kind of didn't expect this caliber of signing, really. In terms of the transfer outlay, $4 million, I thought we'd be looking at freeze, guys on bargain bin type deals. This is clearly a financial commitment to a position where we just have not had any depth behind Pickford for some time. So that is very positive in the context of the window so far. It's like, okay, we signed a striker who we arguably didn't really need. Great signing. We signed a keeper. We have Pickford. When are we going to get the signings for the positions we are desperately in need of? But as a player, I think it's an interesting move. I didn't really think a player like him would be on the table from Bournemouth, but clearly he's comfortable being the number 2. I talked in the goalkeeper episode about you have to make that pitch to the prospective candidate of, look, Pickford's the guy. But the other thing we talked about was it's really important to have someone who's good enough to push Pickford. And I don't think Travers is like this elite keeper right now. I think he's kind of limited with the ball at his feet. But as far as shot stopping goes, he's pretty solid and actually a very good number 2 for Everton. So I feel good about the signing. And hopefully when we look back, a few weeks from now, and we've made other signings, it will be viewed as just another piece of adding real quality depth to this Everton squad.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of echo those thoughts. Interestingly enough, kind of looking at Bournemouth the last few years, he really hasn't gotten a true chance to play, and I feel like the keepers in front of him haven't been significantly better, which is kind of an interesting point, and that could just truly be, especially with Andoni Areola wanting to get Kepa on that loan, and then of course Neto, in the back half, really struggling. But there's no doubt about it. I think he's definitely better than any backup we've had in some time. Curious, of course, like you said, in terms of the internal motivations, just taking from the quotes, it seems like he's ready to push Jordan Pickford, as well as he really liked the marketing pitch from the club. And I think he believes that the club is on to bigger and better things. Whether that's Europe, whether that's in the future, but at minimum, he's going to be a very capable cup starter, and definitely if Pickford, knock on wood, misses any time, we're not going to be in the normal distress that we would be right at that position. So, but agree with you, right? It's just you would not if you were given an Everton bingo card and chosen the positions right that they would address first. I would not have chosen striker and goalkeeper.
Yeah, and I mean also just not just the skill level and the outlay, but 26 years old, or sorry, 24, let's see, 24, 20, 25, split the difference. 25 years old is kind of right in the middle of, it's young for a goalkeeper, for sure, but it's not like this kind of prospect type of guy, and it's not the seasoned veteran that you have for team chemistry and culture. So striking the right note, you view him as maybe like trying to make the next step in his career, get a few matches. He was, he's Premier League proven for as much as that matters. He's got a lot of appearances for Bournemouth, as you alluded to, Sean. So happy with the signing. Ask me in 3 weeks. If we haven't signed anyone else, I'll be like, why was this the guy we prioritized? But seemed like it got done pretty quickly, kind of came out of nowhere. And I'm totally comfortable if that's how Angus Kinnear and company want to do business. Keep things close to the vest, announce it when it's done, and let everyone draw conclusions from there.
And speaking of announcements, we did get another announcement in terms of the away kit. We have finally gotten, of course, images in Everton circles. They have not been able to keep that a secret in regards to the kits. But, of course, this was kind of the kit that we were really looking forward to, just seeing some of the photos and whatnot. James, I mean, your initial thoughts in regards to the kit, and is this going to be a kit that you might purchase?
Fantastic. For as bad and as much as we've ripped on the home kit, this kit is going to be, I think, the best of the bunch. I know the third kit rumored, if the leaks are true, that one's quite bizarre, so this could be the clear winner. This would be one that I would purchase. I do panic buying white kits or white clothing in general because I'm not good about not staining them. But when I see it in person, I could see myself very easily being compelled to make an impulse purchase because it looks so good. And when you take the sponsor off, which I know those options, they were available, they might not be available. I think they only sold a limited amount. That seems kind of weird to me. They should let anyone who wants to buy it without the sponsor buy it. Even with the sponsor, the steak doesn't bother me as much. That cream color is just beautiful. The accents on the sleeves look so good. And again, I'm normally not a fan of collared football kits, but this one I think is just the right balance of everything. This is a fantastic, fantastic kit.
Yeah, I think they really did well on this one, and I think a good rebound from the blue kit that they launched as the home kit. Agree with you. It's going to be a very easy impulse purchase when it comes to Atlanta. And so my hope is that they have more than they should in medium and larges, just because, as you remember in Baltimore, I felt like that was just sold out within minutes. And of course, we're going to unfortunately be the back half of that journey. But yeah, I think they did a great job. To your point, I hope that they figure out the kit situation pretty quickly in regards to the sponsorship, sponsor lists option.
Definitely. I just like the minimalist. Like, I don't need a kit that has these crazy patterns. I do like some of them if they're done tastefully, but just give me an overall very clean with subtle accents, and I'll fork over the cash. It's really not that hard to sell me on it. And I think this one does that extremely well, executes against that very well. Not the biggest fan of Castore, even less of a fan of steak, but I might compromise to get this kit. We shall see. Now, Sean, we get into the rumor mill. Honestly, it's been kind of quiet. The only thing that has really picked up quite a bit of steam lately is the links to Takefusa, Kubo. We did not talk about him explicitly on the right wing episode. He's a right winger, predominantly. He can really play anywhere across the front three. We talked about him in passing, mentioned his name as one of the top guys that came back in Ryan's data ID models for the right wing position when looking at guys who create a lot, can score, and didn't talk about him because I think at the time it was viewed as really not a super realistic target for Everton. I still think there's some question marks as to if he is realistic, but Harry Watkinson today putting out the news, Everton are now preparing to launch a bid for Takefusa Kubo following talks with Real Sociedad. More developments expected next week after Sociedad return from their preseason tour of Japan. And Everton allegedly making a big push, which is one of those really fun transfer window sayings that lose all meaning, but a big push, and then maybe we'll accelerate our interest or whatever other platitudes they want to throw out. Sean, your thoughts on this player?
I mean, I think you can go in a bunch of different directions. I think from a commercial standpoint, right? Everton have never had a Japanese player. I know that was a big discussion on the Discord. So to get a guy like that, I think would be a real statement of intent. And that's another kind of buzzword, of course, that we've talked about. But yeah, I think it, of course, like any of our targets, what's the fee? Kind of what's the strategy there? Does he really fit the right wing position for Everton? I think the criticisms against somebody like Kubo is, can he handle the physicality and just kind of the overall speed of the Premier League? If you watch him, he is an absolute peach of a player. I mean, the technical skill in that guy is incredible. I feel like he's got an incredible shot on him as well. The ball within his feet, he can take guys on. He's very creative. I think he also is very good at utilizing space, very good vision, so kind of knows where he needs to be, as well as off the ball, on the ball. So it's kind of one of those positions where I feel like from a creative sense, he's going to walk into our team and just make a massive difference. But I do wonder in terms of just kind of the overall game speed and some of those things, would he be able to adjust? Would he be, like, let's just say in a physical matchup, if he's overpowered, would it be kind of completely, taken away? It's kind of one of those that I could see it either way. You can convince me either or. It's just kind of hard to know. But in terms of the idea of getting a guy like him, there's a lot of potential for it to go really well.
Yeah, and there has been some kind of fees floating out there. I think the most recent one I saw was 30 million euros. Transfer Market has his value right around there. Just a few years ago, it was 60 million. He did just turn 24. Probably worth noting. So he's not super, super young, but still kind of in that age range where you'd want to be looking if you're Everton, looking to build for the future and maybe even a little bit for the now. Talked about the fact that he can play all across the front three. That said, he is extremely, extremely left-footed. He does not have a good weak foot. But this guy, in terms of dribbling, you're not going to see very many people who are better one-on-one dribblers. He can take guys on. The main thing for me is just the size. I mean, he's 5'7". FB Ref has him at like 137 pounds, so he's small. We know that is not necessarily a limiting thing, but I think the profiles that we looked at and the players we looked at in the right wing were more big, strong, athletic guys who also have the technical ability. Kubo doesn't quite fit into that. But he can shoot, he can score, he can pass. Like, all the technical stuff's there. The athleticism and the size are a little bit question marks for me. And I just think in a league like the Premier League, where it's so fast and there are so many superb, elite, top-level athletes, he could struggle a little bit in terms of fit. A league that the pace of play is a little bit slower, where things are more technical one-on-one, he's obviously a really good fit. So I'm kind of with you, Shan. I mean, we could use a little bit more of that. That is one of the key things we talked about as a need, is ability to beat guys one-on-one and carry the ball. And I think he can bring that, but he doesn't have that top-end pace. He's quick in little bursts, but he's not going to like beat guys over 50, 60 meters or yards necessarily. So I like the player. It seems kind of an odd one for Everton to go out on a limb and say this is the guy when there's so many other names we talked about. But if we do sign him, I mean, I can't lie and say that Njai on one wing or centrally, and then Kubo on the other side, that's just kind of exciting to me, to be honest.
See it working really well, right? So that's, if you would kind of ask me if I had to make a decision, I'd probably say no, but it's not like an emphatic no. I think, of course, as you said, what's the fee, right? Because if it's north of 30 million, right, what kind of other player can you get that might be a better fit? But at the same time, I mean, you look, of course, on the pitch, that's the most important. But off the pitch, I think the commercial opportunity, right, to expand our fan base, expand the market on that end, could kind of play into a little bit of the decision, just because it's not just getting a Japanese player to get a Japanese player, but he is somebody that truly has so many incredible skills and talents, right? And I think on his best day would be the type of player that Everton fans want to watch.
That I completely agree with. It has been, I think, maybe overblown, the extent of the link so far by certain parties. I don't know from what we're hearing that it's quite as far along as some are making out, even that there's like formal interest. But it's really hard to get a clear read on these types of things this time of year. So we'll just have to wait and see how this develops. But excited nonetheless. We did get a link to a player in a position of need at the very least, so we can take some consolation from that. And we actually have 2 links to players in position of need, because from Paddy Boyland and the Athletic deal sheet, linked to Bayern Munich's Adam Aznou emerge as an option for Everton as they look to strengthen at left back this summer. This was a player we did talk about in our summer series pretty briefly. We know that he is young, very young, and I think that was one of the things, kind of key themes out of the discussion from the team assessment. Shan, walk us through a little bit, recap, I guess, that discussion, and then we can talk about, how realistic is this for Everton?
Yeah, so when we discussed Adam Aznou, he was essentially playing for Real Valladolid. He was on loan from Bayern Munich. What we kind of talked about is, for an 18-year-old, he looks really good, right? He is, of course, an 18-year-old, so he's a bit raw, reckless. But I think the thing that really was tough for us is, on a permanent, you really don't know what they would want for a guy like him, just because he's got so much skill. I think he's got a ton of potential. And especially a team like Bayern, right, that, of course, you look at some of the left backs and right wing backs that have played throughout there on the years, right, they know how to develop these guys. And so for us, kind of the way we thought about it on the pod was more of, he would be an interesting option, especially if you can get somebody like that on a loan, right? And as kind of discussions really go forward, it's really hard to determine market value. If you look at Transfer Market, it has him around like 4 or 5 million. I think for an 18-year-old that has his skill set, I imagine, if I had to predict, would go for a lot more than that. But I think we're at a point, right, in terms of our balance sheet, in terms of the way the club is looking forward, that a loan with an obligation to buy even, right, could be a really good move for somebody like him. Once again, interestingly enough, not kind of the right back solution of the future, just because I would probably say he's more of a left back, so he could potentially be a Miko replacement over time. But I do think if it is, let's just say you put that scenario out there, a loan with even an obligation, I think it's one of those where it definitely would be worth the risk taking, just simply because of course Mykolenko would still be here. You wouldn't put him as the left back starter, but somebody, once again, that can potentially either develop or potentially just, from a U21 standpoint, go in that realm. So just kind of, I think the moral of the story here is, it's exciting to see us linked to players like that. I think, of course, right now, the common theme would be, we need somebody right now that can contribute. But it's exciting. I think it's an exciting link for us.
Yeah, I think you said a lot that I was going to say, so I'll try not to double down too much, but yeah, for a left back where you don't necessarily, let me put it this way. Kind of confused on the rationale, because I've heard from Paddy and some other reports that left back is viewed within the club as a more pressing need than right back, which I can't really wrap my head around, but let's just assume that's true. And then the link that appears is the guy who is not going to probably immediately be ready to plug in and play. So if you take it from our view and how we viewed it through the lens of the squad assessment, team assessment, I think it's fantastic. He has an incredibly high ceiling. He's a little bit versatile. He can get up and down, like just a really solid athlete, and the mold of player that you want Everton to aspire to, the style of play that you want Everton to aspire to play in the future. Like attacking, can overlap, can get forward, can do all those things, composed under pressure. He can get up and down. He can dribble the ball. He's pretty good at passing. Some of the stuff on the defensive side of the ball, still very raw. Of course, he's 18. That's gonna happen. That's not a big deal. You can coach all those things. So I guess the other piece is, how many promising young prospects have come to Everton in recent years, and just Nathan Patterson being maybe the key example and most obvious example of come in with some potential and then you just completely stagnate. Now, he'd be a perfect test case for the Friedkin group and Kinnear and everyone else. You bring in this guy who super high ceiling. How can you develop them effectively? How can you get them to reach that potential and become a regular starter? I think it's a super exciting that Everton are in the market for these types of players, assuming the link is true. Would love to see him come in would be really fantastic. And then if we can get a right back or, fill the other positions of need, you're talking about really valuable depth. And then, it just speaks to the long-term thinking of the group that you're looking that far ahead already, even when you do have, these more pressing needs. The season starts in a month. We do need guys who can actually start games. So all in all, in isolation, great deal. In the big picture, still another one where I'm like, why are we starting at the bottom of the to-do list versus the top? But that doesn't change my excitement about just the player himself, because I think he could be so good.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those where from what we've seen from the recruitment team or the committee, I like the profile that they're going after for these guys. And so that's pretty exciting. It's just, as you said, James, it's the key needs, right, are the guys that we're really going to be kind of curious about on who they end up going after. But I think he definitely can fill a gap in regards to the depth side of things, but also from a developmental side, to get a player like that in the ranks would be great.
Absolutely. And really, that's all we have for decent, somewhat credible links. I mean, we could scrape the bottom of the barrel and probably go for another hour, but we will save you guys that exercise for perhaps a later date. We'll stay on top of all the news. This will probably be our last episode unless something crazy happens next week before Atlanta. But as you've already heard, it's going to be an incredible week for stateside Evertonians and anyone making the trip from abroad. So we can't wait for it. That's going to do it for us today. Thank you very much for tuning in. As always, leave us a rating and review on your podcast platform of choice if you enjoy the show. We do sincerely appreciate that. Join our Discord. Follow us on socials. All the links are in the description for your convenience. And with that, we'll leave you till next time. Until then, up the Toffies.